Hey everybody, welcome back. And if I'm wearing the same shirt, it's because we're taping this one right after we did the last show. And this is going to be a quick hit Sunday. Um, and we're gonna get right to the draft. G's got another guest new teammate. What's up, G?
What's up? What's going on? A little more draft talk to get you through the weekend.
Yep. We're gonna talk about. So right now we've gone through the top 10 pitchers, and Riley Quick from Alabama, the linebacker at 6'6", 255, was the last guy I talked about. Prospects 11 and 12 on the pitching totem pole. Overall, Pat Forbes is 34th and Aaron Watson is 42nd. And we're going to start with Forbes. And I'm going to share my screen. So, and yep, there's the stand-up finish. And Garrick, I was saying earlier, and I hate to sound like a broken record, but it's very clear to me, back when I got drafted and over the last 15, 20 years, if you looked at scouting tape, and I've done that for different teams, you look at 15 pitchers, you'd see 15 different deliveries and, this and that, tweak this and that. I'm not seeing that anymore. I'm seeing 15 to 20 guys literally with the same exact finish, max effort, and I keep harping on it, but that's why we're seeing the arm injuries we're seeing. And it's clear to me somebody's out there is making a lot of money telling these guys, hey, I'll help you throw harder, and they're doing nothing for them. And it's actually kind of a disservice in a sense from a pitching perspective because it's hard to dial a kid back. It's harder to dial back than it is to rev up. And all of these guys, like I said, these right here, and that's all. I know it sounds negative, but this is nitpicky stuff on potential Hall of Fame caliber arms. This kid's no different. This is Pat Forbes out of Louisville, 6'3", 220 right-hander. But look at the finish, the straight-up finish. Max effort guy. Big arm. Gosh, big arm. Nice breaking ball. Consistent. But not somebody. Well, he's 11th ranked pitcher, 34th ranked prospect. He'll go somewhere in the first day and a half, and somebody will get a big arm. But I keep going back to this fact that if you're not going to coach these kids and change them and fix this, then what you're looking at when you draft them is exactly what you're getting. And you can go back and look at, a lot of the guys in the big leagues right now. Chase Dollander is one of them. That I've talked about him. Carson Palmquist. These guys are unchanged, and that can't happen. They're not ready to pitch in the big leagues mechanically, and there's a lot to learn inside of the coaching aspect of this. But it's frustrating. All right, up next, 42nd ranked prospect, 12th pitcher, Aaron Watson, 6'5", 205-pound righty out of high school, and I like. So again, this is an Instagram video. All of these things, you should see his head in here and down. It should be in this window, and this is actually kind of a good little shot of what's I want to say what's wrong with modern day pitching. You've got an 18-year-old arm. Nice. And look at the stand-up delivery. But it can be fixed. You can see that the length, the height there. I mean, and especially here's the thing: at 6'5" he is shortchanging himself so much when it comes to velocity and command that he might have only a mile or two more in the tank, but he's got 50 to 70 and 80, 90% more command available to him once he figures out the extend and the finish and backspin the ball and the things that go with that. I like the tempo. He's got a nice tight little breaking ball too. But and the ball, and here's the other thing: if you're watching him, the ball's just coming out of his arm. He's not actually a max effort guy. If you look at him, he's just not getting anywhere near the most out of himself. And so that's a project. That's something I look at that and see that and think, okay, that instead of taking away from that adds to the value in the sense that I got an 18-year-old who's 6'5", 205. So in the big leagues, 4 or 5 years from now, he's 6'5", 235 if he doesn't grow. And I've got 3 or 4 years to polish those mechanics with that arm. That's a live arm. That's and another reason, like I said, why I have no problem drafting high school kids if you bring them into the right pitching program. So we're just going to do 2 today. We'll be back. For those of you wondering about Matt Fisher and Zach Root, those guys will be the next episode. High school and college pitchers. Well, Gene, what do you got for me today?
Quick question from the YouTube. Do you have any milestone baseballs that you've kept? And I just wanted to say I did catch one the day or the start after your 200th win,
right,
that I still have signed by you and Maglia Ordonez, who fouled it into the box we watched on games that we sat.
Really? That was the only ball Maglia Ordonez didn't hit to the outfield fence or over. Because I don't remember ever getting him out.
Yeah, that's the only
I
one
had all of them. First strikeout, first hit, first save, first win. I think I still have most of them.
Scattered.
Yeah.
Amongst various storages and Pop's closets.
It's amazing to me the value that you place in things at different stages of your life. Now it's baseball. Somebody asked me, "Oh, do you have the bloody sock?" And I'm like, "No, I don't. I don't need it. I wore it."
Oh, I remember I threw a no-hitter in 5th grade, and I remember taking out a Dontrell Willis it was Trevor Hoffman or Dontrell Willis that you had gotten signed for me, or I had gotten signed out of a case to put my 5th grade Little League no-hitter ball. So yeah, the context of what's important to you is insane.
Yeah, but yeah, so I had all those. I had the because. And I think it's a record that's going to be broken shortly since Paul Skeens is playing. But right now I have the single season strikeout record in the National League for right-handed pitchers. And I saved Sammy Sosa was the 317th strikeout to break the record and whatever. But I saved a lot of those. The 2 I remember, when I struck out Cal Ripken, I threw the ball out of the game.
No, yeah.
And when I struck out Tony Gwynn, I threw the ball out of the game. Because that happened about as often as a solar eclipse. So,
all right, you ready to guess teammate? Yep. All righty. If you were here last time, we had Mark Bellhorn, and I will give you a little tidbit to this one because there is a degree more of difficulty to this former teammate of yours. I will let you know that Mark Bellhorn was also a former teammate of this guy at one point.
Oh, okay.
As a preliminary, doesn't count.
It doesn't really help because he played on 7 different teams, but sure. Thank you.
All right. Most vague clues starting 10 points. I had a storied 17-year career, including 14 years of which I spent in the American League.
Manny Ramirez.
Nope. Great points. A 3-time Gold Glover. I played for both sides of the Subway Series at different points in my career.
John Allroot.
John Allroot, good job.
You know what got me? What gave it to me? Well, the Subway Series was huge.
Yeah.
Because that's but combined.
I don't ever think of him as a Met. I think of him as a Blue Jay, a Yankee.
The Mets is where the Ricky Henderson story came from.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But the
which is one of those hotly debated, like whether that's real or not.
Oh, it's real.
I mean, I believe it's real,
right.
But you hear different. That's one of those great. What makes baseball great is there is lore like that.
Right.
But to this day, like you'll hear from the people, it's BS.
Yep.
But like from guys that were around them, they're like, there could be true.
Right.
Not very much.
100% true. 100% true.
For anyone that doesn't know, that's the John Allroot and Ricky Henderson. Where was Ricky and?
So they're on the team bus.
Yeah, you'll probably tell.
In I want to say in Seattle. No, it wasn't.
No, he was on base. I'm pretty sure. And he
was
talking
to him
about
team bus,
a guy that wore a helmet.
It might have been in Seattle. Anyway, they played together before, and then they played together again. And,
see, like we have different versions of the story. That's why it's great.
And Henderson over sat down and said, so they were talking, and Ricky had said, I played with a guy in New York who wore the same helmet. And John's like, dude, that was me. It's like, no, really? Dude, I got one for you. Jeff Stone. I got an old school name. He was in the big leagues in '88 when I came up with the Orioles. The story I heard about Jeff Stone was he went to winter ball one year, and when he did, he took his roommate's television. When he came home from winter ball, he didn't bring the television back. And his roommate's like, Stoney, man, where's my television? He goes, man, that thing's broke. He only got Spanish stations, so I didn't bring it back.
That's like Manny taking the RV to the other side of the island to pick up his car.
Right.
Then just leaving his team.
All right, guys, we'll be back on Tuesday. Have a great week, and we'll talk soon.
See you soon.